Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Truth Seeker Network. So today is December the 5th, early in the morning. And yesterday, for the first time, Bitcoin on December the 4th, 2024, or 12/4, 2024, Bitcoin crossed over $100,000 for the first time last night. So congratulations to all the Bitcoin holders out there, to all the people who've been trying to get your friends and family to invest in the Bitcoin, and to the friends and family that did invest, congratulations to all the rest of you. Bitcoin has hit over $100,000. So hopefully this will now go into the media, and now people will get start paying attention to it more. Unfortunately, the best time to buy Bitcoin when Bitcoin was down, when it was like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Way down there. I was telling people a long time ago to get into Bitcoin. I've been buying for years. And, you know, a lot of people, the majority of people did not buy. They thought it was funny money, rat poisoning. They would listen to mainstream media. And all the while, I told you, the mainstream media, if you follow mainstream media, you're not going to get the truth. The truth is never in the masses. And that's what people don't understand. That's why the 1% and the 2% run the world, because they have a different truth. They have the real facts. And the majority of people, people you work with and everything, y'all watch, y'all listen to the same stuff. Y'all are following the same thing. That's why the majority of people are broke, or the majority of people are not rich. So, and I don't know what to do to tell the truth about these different topics that I have on this on my site. But I know I'm being shadow banned. I know that's for a fact. But that's okay. I'm gonna still keep putting out the truth on this channel. And I know a lot of things I put out on this channel, people don't like it. But that's fine. I'm gonna keep putting out the truth. I mean, all you gotta do is go over my videos and watch what I say. And then I have the receipts right there on the page so you can see, even when I'm talking about the Bible, I'm talking about our history or whatever, you know, it's right there. And it makes people upset, but that's fine. And also, investing in Bitcoin makes people upset as well. A lot of people don't want to invest in Bitcoin, and that's fine. And you don't have to. It's not for everybody. That's fine. So in the future, when they have digital money, and digital money is now running across the world, and you had a chance to get in, and all these videos I've been putting out, and other people have been putting out all across YouTube and across social media, Instagram, Reddit, whatever, and trying to inform you about what's really going on right now. But most people are not paying attention to what's going on right now. I mean, these cryptos, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, I mean, they're in their early stages. And this is a beginning of a new asset class. And I think most people do not understand that. That's why, it's like the Industrial Revolution when the horse and buggy came along, and then all of a sudden they started building cars. People didn't understand. Before there was radio, then it was TV, then television took over, right? Then it was black and white, then it was color. Everything just keep moving on along. And people do not understand what's taking place right now. We had the internet to come in, right? Everything went digital, and now all of a sudden, now you had an email, a mailing system, where you can email your email to somebody. Well, what was missing? A digital money, right? And also, there's a digital gold now, and the digital gold is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the digital gold. And I don't think people really understand that. You can actually move this across the world, across country. I mean, like gold bars, right? I don't get me wrong. I love gold, as y'all know on this channel. I do also gold panning, right? So don't get me wrong. I love gold, and I'm gonna continue to gold pan. But you can't move gold across the country, right? You can't move it across real fast instantly, and you can't buy anything instantly with it. Nobody's taking big bars of gold and going to the store and buying anything with these big heavy bars of gold. And you can't transport it and you can't move it as fast. So there's a whole lot dealing with gold that Bitcoin is way better because you don't have to worry about transporting it, heavy amounts of metal. You know what? It's the code in your brain. So Bitcoin is a key, and it is going to move across the world. And it is moving across the world because it is a global currency. Everybody around the world and different countries are buying Bitcoin. Even Russia just came out and said about they are definitely mining Bitcoin. What is the chairman Powell said he even called it digital gold. Look him up. The what's the name? Jermaine Powell. You know the Fed chair. He just did an interview yesterday on December the 4th, and he said that Bitcoin is digital gold. He even said it out of his own mouth. So, like I said on this channel, I'm just trying to get the average person to understand this. But I guess, that's fine. If, you know, hopefully my videos will age well when I've been trying to tell people to get in. And even now, when you watch this Fox News that was taken yesterday, look at the bottom of the screen. And this is what I've been telling people on Bloomberg Radio. Excuse me, on Bloomberg TV, on CNBC, on Fox News, Fox Business News. You'll see going right across anything that's dealing with stocks, you know, uh, wealth, you'll see on these wealth channels everything. You all will also see Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? Litecoin, XRP, Solana. There's some other digital currencies out there, right? And so we're about to go into a bull. We're about to go into a bull run starting now until it could last next year. And who knows, this could be even a longer cycle based on the fact that we got all these institutions, countries, talking about putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets, including the US. And this should be eye-opening for everyone. But unfortunately, the Bitcoin is being bought up. And Michael Saylor, the guy we're just about to see right here, he just bought up another 51,000 Bitcoin. Not $51,000, y'all. Don't look at 51,000. He bought 51,000 of these Bitcoins. And you see the price on the screen as it goes, it's like $96,000, right? I don't know what he paid for it, but it's got to be somewhere around in there. But so each one is like $96,000, and he bought 51,000 of them. If that don't wake you up, I don't know what will. So right now, I'm getting ready myself, and we're gonna go into this video that was yesterday, December the 4th. All right, let's hear. Well, this is Charles Payne on Fox Business News, and he will be interviewing Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy.
Breaking right now, each day everybody is reminded directly or indirectly that we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Now, investors, in fact, reminded today, every time you peek in your portfolio, but particularly today, right? You look at the top performing names in today's session. At the top of the list, Salesforce.com is surging. Now, here's the thing. It's all about AI, and just earlier this year, Salesforce.com, the stock got hammered because they were falling behind. They had no real AI vision that the street could see. Down at 1.16% on the year. Now it's up over 40% on the year. And I got to tell you, I continue to marvel at these managers that have sort of written off the notion of a fourth industrial revolution and the key components from AI to Bitcoin and the blockchain. I got to tell you something. I am a natural born Luddite. I always tell people, if I was around when Net Ludd was around, I would have been breaking up weaving machines too. But I know that these moments have several things in common. That ultimately humankind enjoys richer existence because of the driven visionaries. But it's never an easy transition, and it's never without controversy. Today, we have two of those visionaries with us that the world will be talking about 100 years from now. Sam Altman later on in this show, and Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy's executive chairman and Bitcoin evangelist, joins us now. Michael, it's so good to see you in the flesh, my man.
Here I am.
Here you are. So let's talk about this because there are three things I want to talk to you about in this interview. First, I want to talk about this MicroStrategy approach to buying Bitcoin because it's got Wall Street on fire. Some people are excited, some people aren't. So the strategy is essentially you're raising billions of dollars to buy Bitcoin. You have a convertible bond with arbitrage opportunities. Volatility is a financial engine. You see volatility in this circumstance is a positive thing and also suitable for raising money in the future. So walk us through how does it really work?
Well, you've got one group of investors that want low volatility. They want a secure, comfortable ride. So we sell them a convertible bond. You've got other kinds of investors that want super high performance, the sports car. They're buying the equity. We borrow the money from the convertible bond market at 0% interest. We buy Bitcoin, we lever up the equity, so the equity outperforms Bitcoin, and that's great for equity investors. And for the bond investors, they can't stand the equity risk. They don't want the downside risk, but they have a huge appetite for the bonds.
Why do they have, I saw one of the critics that said, who the hell is buying these? Who's buying them? They said, why would anyone buy them? They have 0% interest.
Well, one group of people would be long Bitcoin investors. They're going to buy the bonds because they get the upside of Bitcoin without the downside. Another group of investors are convertible arbitragers. They actually buy the bond, short the stock, extract sort of a risk-free premium out of the instrument, and they can only do that with a convertible bond. They can't do it with equity, and they can't do it with Bitcoin.
So again, you face a lot of critics with all of this. What do you say to people who are saying, hey, you're making up financial terms? Like, all the stuff you're kind of talking about is goobly gop, and it's made up, and it's just sort of taking advantage of a moment in time when there's sort of a financial hysteria around the world, and it's not sustainable.
I would say that public companies exist to issue securities. So some fixed income investors, they want a guaranteed coupon or they want low risk and they want to participate without the volatility. Others want to make an investment. If you want to invest in New York City, you can either buy the real estate or you can invest in a company that borrows a lot of money to develop 10 times as much real estate. So we're offering investors whatever degree of risk and performance they want. And there's hundreds of trillions of dollars in the capital market that absolutely has to buy a security, and they cannot buy the commodity.
Right.
So we're serving their need.
The volatility as a positive from your perspective, I think you called it or equated it to fire some earlier in the week. Explain that part of it.
Well, imagine I have a 40-ton weight in my backyard. It's a sculpture. That's US dollars on the balance sheet. Imagine I take the 40-ton weight and I put it on a flywheel and I spin it 60 RPM. That's a turbine. Now imagine I extend the arm a bit and I get it to go 120 RPM and I plug it into a power plant. Now I've got a reactor. And so what MicroStrategy is doing is we're tapping in that volatility. We're using $40 billion of capital to capture the energy. We're powering our equity forward and we're benefiting the entire crypto economy and the conventional capital markets.
So Michael recently had a chance to address Microsoft to explain them the value of all of this Bitcoin. And you're obviously proud of yourself. We saw your video. I think what it takes, 13, 17 takes. But I thought
21 times.
21 times, not bad, not bad. I think one time it took Earl Campbell like 59 times to do one commercial. I think it's a great opportunity, though, to borrow some of these slides to educate also the audience, because not everyone knows the benefits. So obviously, I wanted to start with this because it dovetails into the whole conversation of the fourth industrial revolution, this technology wave, digital capital coming right after, of course, the personal computer down to AI. What distinguishes this, the digital capital?
Look, when we saw digital photos transform, a lot of people didn't get the fact that Kodak was going to get replaced by Instagram and Facebook, but they get digital photos. Digital capital is what happens when your long-term store of value goes from a building or goes from a portfolio of stocks to a digital asset like Bitcoin. Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital in the world.
Right.
No one expected to see it, so they don't quite get what it's going to be, except for the fact it's worth all the money in the world.
So let's talk about that, because you do have you have a couple of slides showing assets around the world. First, okay, let's start with this from again geared toward Microsoft, but some critics would say when you talk about digital capital being economically and technically superior, no tax. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't be taxed in certain jurisdictions at some point. No torts. Legal issues are going to come up. No regulator. I mean, these are great points, but are they forever points?
The point is, I got $100 million in New York City and I buy a building. I got to worry about someone slipping and falling on the sidewalk and a property tax. But if I can snap my fingers and teleport the building to Zambia, Central Africa, or to Monaco, all of a sudden it's a teleportable building. And of course, if I don't have any tenants in the building, I don't got to worry about them defaulting. Right. So digital capital is the ability to move the money at the speed of light anywhere on Earth and program it on a computer. There's a lot of people that are going to want that rather than having, pick a country in Africa where you want to invest your life savings in a building.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah, let's say Angola.
Right. And what happens if the government fails? You lose everything.
Exactly.
But if you could put the building in your pocket and go to the place where you like the government, maybe you get to keep your money.
Great. Let's talk about how it's going to grow. So in your presentation, you have this slide twice. The first one, right now, Bitcoin is $2 trillion. You're saying in 21 years, $280 trillion. How do we get there?
What I'm saying is the wealth in the entire world is growing because of innovation, because of technology, but also because of inflation. And people are thinking to sell their Central African real estate to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Siberian natural gas to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Argentine currency to buy Bitcoin. So as people migrate their capital into this global monetary asset, that asset class is going to grow faster than equity, faster than gold, faster than real estate.
But also, did I read somewhere that you're saying each Bitcoin would be worth the equivalent of $13 million?
Yeah, well, when you crank in the growth rate, which for me, the base case is 29% a year on average for 21 years, that gets you from where we are today to 13 million a coin in the year 2045.
All right, so we've talked about the financial parts of this. You and I have had great conversations in the past about the humanitarian part of this, right? And I want to talk about that. You just mentioned Africa, for instance. Bitcoin's philosophy and political promise. This is an article from 2022. It's not just a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's more, right? This is what this article is saying. And it's going to have an impact on economies, philosophy, politics, human rights, and society. That is huge to live up to.
Bitcoin is a protocol for prosperity. Fire, electricity, steel, English, mathematics. You would give them to the world. Bitcoin is an economic protocol. Once you master Bitcoin, you can figure out how to save your wealth, how to economically prosper. It works for a country, a company, a family, an individual. Nobody owns it. It's a utilitarian, egalitarian entitlement, just a good for the world. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about it.
And particularly underdeveloped nations, right? I mean, this is what we're really talking about, a way for them to catch up. I mean, right now, if you're an underdeveloped nation and you want to try to catch up, you're at the whims or the mercy of the IMF or the World Bank, who, quite frankly, they have rates sometimes that are like, that makes the mafia blush, right? I mean, to me, you're always going to be an underdeveloped nation if you have to go to the World Bank to borrow money.
If you're a type 1 diabetic, you can eat continuously and you'll starve to death because you cannot store organic energy. If you don't have a capital asset like Bitcoin, I can send billions or tens of billions of dollars to Africa. You can make billions. The money will just drain out of your capital structure because you're storing it in a currency which is collapsing faster than you can actually generate it.
Will large industrialized countries allow this to live up to its promise? It's one thing to say it's a $2 trillion asset. It's another to say, hey, eventually this will replace fiat currency, which a lot of folks believe it will.
I think you got to keep in mind money bifurcates into currency, the medium of exchange, of which the dollar is the world reserve currency, and capital, the store of value, of which right now real estate and equity portfolios are the world reserve capital. Bitcoin is emerging to compete with equity and real estate as world reserve capital. But those Africans, they can't buy real estate in the US. They can't buy equity in the New York Stock Exchange. It's global capital. And once you understand that, you realize that every nation that respects property rights is going to support Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you go communist, full-on socialist, North Korea, Cuba, they're going to expropriate your property. But any place where people respect property rights and they give you a chance for capitalism and freedom, they're going to allow you to have Bitcoin. And the competitor really is the Vanguard 500 is going to get demonetized a little bit. And then instead of buying a real estate portfolio and a third apartment, you buy some Bitcoin. And I don't think that's threatening to anybody.
Well, the Trump administration, no, because they're talking about a strategic reserve. But, again, these nations that are in trouble, maybe. I do want to point out, I always talk to people about this, like YAP Stone money. A lot of folks don't realize, it was worth something in part because it was so dangerous to go to other islands to get it, to bring it back home and to manufacture it. So there is a certain inherent wealth. All right, the third part of this, I got to talk about your saga because you are such an amazing story. This right here, the headline from the New York Daily News in March of 2000, lost $6 billion in a day. Hotshot tech CEO loses his fortune. I mean, they blamed you for this massive crash in the stock.
Back then, my life would have been a lot easier. I think having lived through all the difficulties of my 30 years in business, when I got to the point where I saw Bitcoin, I realized the elegance of betting on a decentralized asset.
When you put it all together, was there like a eureka moment? You ran out of the house with a bath towel on, like, I figured it out.
Yeah, it's everybody working themselves to death as hard as they can, and they can't get ahead.
Yeah.
And that's because you're trying to do too much, but you don't have the right savings technology. And so Bitcoin was that way out of that working myself to death.
Of course, you still have detractors now. Give me an example. I'm sure you know Jim Chanos, for instance. Of course, famous hedge fund manager known for shorting companies. He shorted Enron. This is just a recent tweet where he went after you. Now, part of this probably is because you crushed them. I mean, let's face it, he was short your stock for a long time, and I'm sure he's gotten hammered. But there are other people out there that are saying this whole thing, again, getting a little bit back to what we were talking about earlier, it's just sort of a P.T. Barnum act. What do you say to the folks on the street that still don't get it?
Well, I think there are a lot of successful, well-known people that just don't understand digital capital. I mean, there were successful people running Kodak. There's successful people running Xerox, and there are successful people that didn't care for the automobile or electricity. I think another decade and they'll start to appreciate it. But right now, you're going to have a lot of rich, famous people that are skeptical until they put in the 100 hours to learn about Bitcoin.
I was just telling my team, I read an article recently that 20 years after the invention of the automobile, there was a movement to get rid of it. They said, we tried it, it didn't work, it's slow, it's not as reliable as a horse and buggy. So to your point, maybe it takes some time. I can't let you go without talking about the future after you pass away, because you've talked about establishing a sort of mission, a charity to support Bitcoin and the adoption of Bitcoin forever. What does that look like in your mind?
Well, I'm reminded of the fact that Rockefeller contributed a lot of money to a lot of causes, and 100 years after his death, people are criticizing him for something that one of his charities is doing right now. So sometimes you got to be careful about big charity. But what I would say about Bitcoin, which is just wonderful, is if you accumulate a lot of wealth in Bitcoin and you just burn the keys when you leave, you're making a pro rata contribution to everybody that owns Bitcoin in the world based upon their contribution and their knowledge of Bitcoin. So I think that supporting Bitcoin as a protocol for prosperity is just a great thing to do. And otherwise, I think, take the Bitcoin with you.
Yeah. Will you be known more for the economic success or the humanitarian success?
I hope I'm known for having taken the torch from Satoshi and went on to commercialize Bitcoin with corporations and governments decades after he passed.
All right. Let's remember what happened to Prometheus. Let's hope that doesn't happen to you as you try to pass the torch on. Michael, great stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sean.
Stuff.
For more on the markets and the retail trading activity, let's bring in JJ Kinahan, CEO of IG North America, who's going to single-handedly add to all of this this bullishness to the point where, JJ, it's getting, you can cut it with a knife at this point, which makes me uncomfortable. But you don't see, at this point, you see almost all tailwinds, very few headwinds for the market.
Well, it certainly does look that way, Joe. And I would kind of say that we probably have tailwinds through maybe the State of the Union address in January, even, or when Trump makes his first speech in terms of what his plans are on the campaign trail. Obviously, every candidate talks about so many things they're going to do, but we'll see what the actual priorities are when he does get up and speak. I found you guys' conversation, before the break. They're really, really interesting in terms of a couple of things. Obviously, Bitcoin, what's going on there has been amazing, up 5% since President Trump got elected. and now over $100,000. We'll see if it can continue to carry that momentum. And in terms of growing into earnings, I think that is where most people's, hope lies in the fact that, again, I think maybe there's even a misunderstanding about regulation. People are like, oh, business people don't want regulations. Of course, everybody wants regulations, but when the government is employees are growing at a faster rate than private company employees, people, when they go to work, want to do something. So you just had so many more people coming in, trying to do things, trying to do new regulations, et cetera. And that really is where the issue was. I think a lot of people, this new DOGE committee, or whatever we're referring it to, coming in and trying to just make the government more efficient, not just on spending, but in terms of how many people you have coming in, maybe overlapping in what they're asking you. I think that's what the business community is really welcoming more than anything else. And that's where I think a lot of the hope of us continuing to grow into earnings comes. And then the last thing I'll say to that is think about AI. All hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on it. The question 6 months ago is, what are you going to actually do with this? What can we show for all this spending? And I think we're finally starting to see some of that, not only in the tech industry, but you think about medicine, et cetera. That's where I think a lot of the hope for our next wave comes from also.
Yeah.
So y'all see, Bitcoin is finally hit over $100,000. And I wanted y'all to notice something. Did y'all notice that Charles Payne kept talking about we were in the fourth industrial revolution? The fourth industrial revolution. Now, I'm not saying this is it, but I'm going to go to the book of Daniel real quick, and I'm going to read this for you, starting at verse 18 at the top. All right, it says, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and became before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, that spake very great, hold on a second, I got a thing in the way, very great things, whose looks was more stout than his fellows. And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High." Now, we're not talking about Jesus, y'all. Okay? We're talking about the Most High, the Ancient of Days. "And the time came at the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus," now this is what I want to get to. "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces." Now, could we be possibly this fourth industrial revolution with the AI that's coming about? Think about the AI, and they make an image of itself. And those that worship the beast or this kingdom, the beast is not a man. The beast is a kingdom. It's going to envelop the whole earth. And this AI is going to envelop the whole earth, and the currency is going to, this Bitcoin, it might be the main monetary value that might envelop the whole earth. Could this be the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth? So not just in a land, not just to cover one place, but upon the whole earth. Okay? Could this be? This is something for y'all to think about. All right? So yeah, this AI, the new technology, and they're moving so fast, and getting all this together, and it's like I said, it's just moving really fast. And AI, the crypto, I mean, all of it is enveloping the whole world. The collapse of the dollars, the fiat system, money system, is going away. right? So, you know, this all remains to be seen. I could be wrong, but I'm just throwing that out there. All right. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is the Truth Seeker Network coming to y'all once again. And all I got to say is, y'all, just keep on stacking them sats, you know, get those cryptos, get them in there before it's too late. All right. And I'm out.